All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts.
Here, if you have a beard, random men are going to always walk up to you and try to lick your beard.
Ew, that's so disgusting. Oh.
You're one of Ben's kittens.
Hold on, so I'm like, nope.
Oh, well, you lost all your fleets.
Oh, fuck. Not what we intended. Oh, God. What do we do?
The Meta Show.
Alex, there.
We should be ready to go now. Welcome to the show. We have Lazarus Tellraven and CCP Manifest. That would be Ned Coker with us from Atlanta, the Atlanta meetup. And as you can hear, there's a raucous crowd in the background. And we might have had a little bit of hot miking issues. Because of Atlanta, it has been left to your humble correspondent here, myself, to try to run the show. Yeah. Oh, boy. My God, the noise of Hypno Kitten going off in my speakers. What was that? Ow.
It's the best. You're not used to this. You haven't been hosting in a while.
So, I just want to ask this before we really get into a very serious professional production. Does everybody else hear the oh yeah when that happens, or is that just going off in my ears?
Everyone hears it, Alex.
Wow.
Everyone hears it. It's just like extra annoying for you because it hears everyone else and you have to react to it.
Okay, excellent. So, Laz and CCP Manifest, how are things in Atlanta? Let us know what's going on over there.
Well, there's probably like 40 people here. 40, 50? Yeah, something like that. Yeah, so it's actually a pretty big gathering. This is the first actual large Southern meetup that EVE's really had. They've had some smaller meetups that EVE Manifest has been to, but this is the first actual Southern meetup I've been to for EVE Online.
Yeah, usually it's 20 or 30 people. There was a Vito meetup in Tennessee that was pretty big a few years back. They might do that on a regular basis, but in terms of Atlanta, though, this is the biggest one we've had that I know.
Awesome. Laz, can you lean in a little bit more towards the microphone, please, when we're doing this? There you go. Excellent. Now we can see both of you. Everybody can hear Manifest, but they can't quite hear you. There you go. Say something, Laz. Let's hear it.
I'll just yell at the mic from now on.
There you go. Excellent. That worked out perfectly. We're in business.
Really angry. This is such an awesome show.
Angry Laz. That's excellent.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so since you're there and you're snuggling next to CCP Manifest, I think we should probably introduce Ned Coker. He is, and not
Not my hand.
not only are you guys snuggling, but Manifest, you guys might recognize his voice from being the man, the myth, the legend behind our intro here on the Meta Show. He does the narration. If you could hear that through the hot miking. So yeah, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do for CCP, Ned?
Yeah, sure. It's a long and winding journey, but in general, I am in charge of public relations for EVE Online, which is kind of funny because everybody thinks that public relations is terrible for EVE Online in general. But you know, mostly it's media related stuff. I do get involved a lot with messaging with the community teams, involved with dev blogs, stuff like that. Of course, all the real like kind of media stuff with sites like TheMittaniTV.com,
Plug that about one more time.
and all the way down to the lower dregs of like New York Times, etc. So I deal with that stuff. I do kind of loosely in charge of social media at TCP, although I get a lot of help from a lot of people because it's kind of a big, constant job. And then recently I've been moonlighting as EVE's brand manager. I would say junior brand manager. But that's really just more making sure the wheels of the marketing machine keep turning and making assets for upcoming updates and releases and stuff like that. A little bit of creative stuff, you know, talking about upcoming videos and that sort of thing, but that's pretty much it. So the mini hats.
So basically, you felt like you didn't have enough hats, so you decided to jump in.
Yeah, it's become a hat fetishist and haberdasher, obviously.
So something like a CCP Manifest.
Yeah, pretty much. Although my hat's not as crisp as his hat is.
All right. So can people? I just want to make sure that people can actually hear you when we're going through this. Can you guys hear what Laz and them are saying at all? Or let me go ahead and crank the stereo here a bit.
I can switch back to the Yeti.
All right. Actually, so we just want to check here with the chat. I changed one of the settings here. Can you guys hear them at all? You can almost not hear them.
This is us testing the sound.
Testing
Can you hear me?
the sound. Okay. Oh my. Nope. Lots of background noise. Very quiet. Very low. Boost the volume.
I think if I stop the Yeti, I should. It also might pick up more noise.
Now I'm booming. Okay.
What?
Apparently now I'm very, very loud. Nope, people are saying it's much better now, so I think
it is much better, so you can hear us.
People are saying getting better, Mittens is too loud. We're almost there, ladies and gentlemen. We are almost there.
The problem with this is we also don't know who's trolling us.
That is very true. That's pretty interesting. So what I can do is I can adjust for these guys so that you can hear them, and then I can back up. And sounds good enough. You can hear Laz now, better but still weak. Okay, that's progress. Am I deafening you?
I'll swap to the Yeti, and they'll definitely be able to hear us, and they'll probably definitely be able to hear literally everything else.
Yeah. We could call for general silence in the area, but that might be a bad idea.
Guys, can you please all go outside?
Okay. I think we have succeeded. I think we actually have it where people can hear us. So Manifest was just letting everybody know what is going on regarding what he does for CCP. Now here's a question for you, Ned. CCP has a lot of properties that are coming out that are quite interesting to our player base. I mean, it's not just EVE Online. We also have Valkyrie, and recently it was announced that you guys are doing a little VR game called Gunjack. Now we don't know too much about Gunjack. Are you working on those properties as well for marketing and PR, or are you specifically on EVE?
I specifically on EVE, although I do, kind of generally help with that stuff. That's more my boss is kind of like handling the PR aspect of that. And, one of the other brand managers, or the real brand manager guy, is doing some of that stuff in preparation for imminent stuff, which I can't say too much more about the imminence of it, of course. But no, so I'm not working directly on that. I'm the EVE dude.
Excellent. We need more EVE dudes, so that's always great to hear.
I love you, Spaceship Bros.
Aw, that's excellent. So, what are some of the other EVE events that you'd like to tell us about? I mean, I know that you're intimately involved with keeping track of the community, keeping everybody informed. You're all over Twitter. We have EVE Vegas coming up very soon. Is there anything else that you'd like to tell our community about that maybe we should be attending?
Yeah, so there's the pub crawl. We finally resecured a location for the pub crawl after being Cheetah scammed by the original place. Basically signing a contract with us, and 2 days later finding out in the newspaper that they're shutting down. That was pretty sweet.
Did they at least double your money?
They paid us. Well, we never really paid them, so that was good at least. So under contract, but we didn't have to pay them, so that's good. But we found another venue, which is pretty cool, and there's like an actual crawling component, although it's on like these weird bicycles where you drink, but you can like lightly pedal. And
pedal bars! Those are amazing. We have those in Madison.
Yeah. So that should be pretty fun, and I think a good time. Sort of ending. It should be a similar experience, and hanging out with devs and stuff like that. All CCP devs that are going, which is a sizable amount, are all on the pub crawl. So it should be a lot of fun.
Excellent. Well, we're looking forward to that.
In terms of the event itself, it's already 33% bigger than last year, which is awesome. We're finalizing the schedule. We hope to get that out next week. A lot of good player speakers, a lot of good internal, like CCP talks, some really good roundtables. The schedule isn't so packed that you will feel horrible about missing stuff, which I think is good. And we're not really torturing any players by making them present super early in the morning, but there's a lot of really good content.
I resent that comment. I had the very first presentation last year. I had to go to bed early in EVE Vegas the first night so that I could be up for the presentation. Yeah.
Morning in Vegas is brutal, because if you're doing Vegas right, you shouldn't be a functional human being at all until, 1 or 2 p.m. on most of those days.
Exactly.
I was shamed for not partying on the first night.
Yeah. Well, we'll fix that.
Excellent. So, are we going to have everybody on pedal bikes? Like, I want to drill onto this pub crawl thing, because it used to be at this arcade bar, which, as Ned said, just instantly went bankrupt just after CCP announced that was happening. So, if there's going to be like pedal bars, are we going to have an entire fleet of these? Is it going to be like 5 or 6 of these? Bars with pedals on them, or people are going to be like
extremely dangerous
going through.
Immediate wars, sort of Viking style.
Yeah, people can throw beer cans at each other between the things and primary each other. There's a lot of potential. It's felonious potential, but it is potential there.
Yeah. I'm not exactly sure the specific logistics of how they'll move out and form up and stuff like that. But there will be locations in between, and then there'll be like a big unified location at the end and at the beginning. So it won't be like you'll do a star formation from the original location and like never see each other again right off into the desert or something.
That would be amazing. So, I mean, I do know that Amsterdam is coming up as well. That's in late September. I mean, actually, late September. I mean, like 2 weeks from now is Amsterdam. Are you or anybody else from the CCP community team going to be attending that event?
I think you were asking about Amsterdam and if anybody's going to be there. There's a good list of what's coming up on the sort of Euro tour sort of thing I think it's a news item, a relatively recent news item, and that has a list of all the CCPers that are going to the various events, Paris, Berlin, Amsterdam, and I think Nottingham. I would say Amsterdam just became it's already going to be a fun time. I'd imagine. I'm not going, but CCP Fatique is going, and for anybody that knows him or has listened to the interviews with him, that dude is crazy. And he alone would be worth the trip to go to Amsterdam if it weren't for also the rest of Amsterdam and the players.
Well, I heard somewhere, I haven't read the dev blog or anything about it, but I heard that Fozzie was also going to Amsterdam.
Yeah, he's going, I think, on his own dime. So nothing's required of him, but I'm sure he will be hanging out and partying out. So.
That's excellent.
A quick shout out for Amsterdam. Mr. V will actually be giving a presentation at Amsterdam, which I don't actually know the topic.
No, I don't. Maybe it's living in the shadow of Mr. U?
Mr. Me, yes.
Excellent. Yeah, I think it'll be really interesting to see Mr. V there. I would like to go, but unfortunately my schedule is packed. But any excuse to go to Amsterdam is a good excuse. But before we move on too much, one of the things that I don't think players get to hear too much about, like you are, like I said, ever present, Ned, and have been for years. But could you tell us a little bit about your own personal experience in EVE Online, where you come from, what aspect of the game you play the most?
Yeah, sure. So about every 6 months, I try and take on a new EVE project, and I'll go back and rotate to previous ones and stuff like that, just so to try and get a good understanding of all the different game systems and try and get a holistic experience of different parts of the game. So over the years, I've been involved in 3 different factional warfare militias and corporations in factional warfare. I've spent usually I do that during the summer time. Because I seem to have a little bit more time to devote to doing fleet stuff. I've been in a few nullsec corporations and alliances. One of which was Brave Movies, right before they moved to nullsec last time. So it was like right before FanFest, and I go to FanFest and they're like gone.
What happened?
They moved that time. They just moved. Yeah, so,
they moved about 12 times after that too.
Yeah, I know. But that was a lot of fun. I did a lot of stuff with I got to play with new players, old players, and stuff like that. Spent a fair amount of time in RVB. I've done my own wormhole stuff. Trying to live sort of a hermit lifestyle out of the C2. I've been in Corpse, Wormhole Corpse. I think highest C4, I think. So that was a lot of fun. The only thing I've not really done a ton of is cap warfare. I've been in fleets that fought against caps and we had our own stuff, but I've never done it, so I don't really know how that I never experienced it firsthand, other than being like in battles with it, you know, and I know how it works.
Well, I don't know if you've done it recently, but you stream sometimes too.
Yeah, I've done some streaming, just like just for fun, really. Mostly of just the new player experience and just starting out a new character and talking a little bit about, creating character and a little bit about game systems and stuff like that. It's not really structured at all, which is kind of terrible. I probably should structure it and shorten it down a lot, but it's a lot of fun. It's good to go back towards the humble beginnings of your character every once in a while.
So,
remember what it's like not being able to fix some stuff.
So a lot of experience with low-sec, a lot of faction warfare, a lot of time spent in Brave newbies before they went to Null, wormhole experience, RVB experience. Have you ever really gotten involved in nullsec Sov war at all in any capacity?
Not anything an extended amount of time. I've been I've jumped on and I've provided some scouting. I've done some probing and hunting and stuff like that, but nothing that's been jumping in and knowing there's a standing fleet. Help burn down enemy assets and sort of protect those efforts, but nothing has been like a sustained campaign. Anything like that. I just when I got into it, I knew I probably didn't have as much time as I wanted to devote to it. I have a 4-year-old son now, and so my gaming time's a little bit more limited than I wanted. And so I would just kind of randomly pop in, and then the people I was with didn't know I was a CCPer, but they were so cool enough to appreciate somebody coming in and be able to serve a role. I just kind of told them what I'd be able to do, and they're like, okay, cool, and as long as you do it, so that's why I do various stuff like that. I've also spent some time doing industry stuff, manufacturing, trading, stuff like that, but nothing terribly complex.
So one of the things that we're getting, our viewers are eager to see this party. They would like to actually join the party because they're hearing it as best as we can from the audio constantly. But now in the chat, because they cannot quite join the party, apparently our people would like to see you lick Laz's beard. Can you do that for us, Ned? This is important. You've done so much for the meta show already. You've done our intro.
This is gonna get weird.
It's not going to be weird. It's going to be awesome. He just has to get ready.
Where do you want it?
Oh, wow!
Look, he's asking for consent. This is good. He's asking. Yes! Yes! Excellent. Thank you. Thank you so much. Absolutely. That makes up for any possible audio situations we may be having. And ladies and gentlemen,
Beard Lick number 3.
Beard Lick number 3 on the meta show. This is that is going to be.
I'm trying to think. No, your tongue was just where Darius John thought your tongue was.
So what you really need to do is get some Purell and just kind of take a shot of the Purell and gargle it. But no, this is no one can ever question Ned's dedication to the community and to promoting EVE Online after he has licked the beard.
I probably haven't washed my beard in about 4 weeks.
That just adds extra flavor, I think. That's amazing.
I was the last time it was slow and abrupt. This one just quick.
I tried to get it juicy though.
You need stamina, man.
Lubricated tongue.
At least he asked for it.
Need more staying power. Alright, so one thing that we've seen recently in headlines: Scott Ridley, EVE TV show. What do you got for us?
So I can't say anything really too much, but I thought that you guys might ask about that since it's a recent thing. So I can talk a little bit about some possible confirmed people that might be on the show. It may not be, there's always that weird Hollywood legal stuff that happens. And people might drop off the last second or whatever. But I did get kind of a preliminary list, and now there are some players mentioned in here, and while in most of our efforts to try and put the players first, and in a more dramatic thing like this, it's going to be more NPC-driven players. There will be some Easter egg players in there, but they won't play as major a role. So just so you know, we wouldn't base the TV show around specifically players, because there's that little weird real life, real world thing that might get strange if it became super popular. So. Here, I might as well just go. Empress Jamal Sarum will be appearing in ghost form, obviously, and be played by a younger CGI version of Dame Judi Dench. You have Angry Concord Guy will be played by comedian Lewis Black.
That's a good fit. That's a good
Kroll or Krool's Pleasure Club will be played by a heavily costumed David Bowie. And the damsel will be played by confused and crunchy-faced Renee Zellweger. All Apollo and Artemis Tyrannos will be played by the chisel-jawed Dolph Lundgren. Sancha Uvaki will be played by Daniel Day-Lewis, who will bring an edge of humanity to the role and win an Oscar.
and an Oscar. You heard that at the end.
And an Oscar.
Automatic.
For a TV show.
Now to the players. Kriva will not actually ever appear on screen, but he will be voiced by the patient and serene Morgan Freeman. The Big Red Boat will be played by Joe Pesci. Laz, you'll be played by, of course, Chris Pratt.
I've been told I look like Chris Pratt.
You do,
That
actually.
fits.
Xander Fina will play himself, of course. and I would hate to leave out your character. You will be played by none other than John Leguizamo. So there you have it. A little, I couldn't come here without anything, and because there's been a lot of interest in it, and that's the best I could do.
That's
and they're all
excellent.
subject to change.
Well, thank you.
It might not be Chris Pratt. It might be somebody else. So,
It might be Brad Pitt. I mean, these things, it's so... We have the pick of the litter here. I mean, it's just... That's interesting. I mean, the thing about TV shows is we've been watching this, and of course, this is... I'm going to mangle his name, but a rather well-regarded Icelandic director has been involved in the project from the start. And it appears that, according to the most recent article in Variety, that's the first time we've seen Ridley Scott and his production company attached to the project. And it does look like they're still looking for funding. That was what the article in Variety was saying, is that they're looking for financing to do the pilot for that. And, Hollywood is sort of a unpredictable place, right? You can have an option, you can have people attached to a project, and then, who knows? It's like dev hell in the games industry, but worse. So moving on from that was fantastic, Ned, though. Thank you. I love to hear all the characters, and I think that, you can tell yourself that you just had a few things to drink, and it wasn't that you were licking Laz's beard, it's that you were licking a younger and slightly shorter Chris Pratt's beard. So.
that does make it feel a little bit
Exactly, it was just beer goggles. I thought it was Chris Pratt. I mean, you would lick his beard too.
You'd be like, that's cool. That's cool.
So
She probably come up and see if she can do it too.
Oh, wow.
So
You don't look that much like Chris Pratt.
that's amazing. So going ahead, we would kind of like to. We need to go through some actual EVE news here, because things have been changing pretty rapidly on the EVE front in the last few days. Actually, there've been a couple of major dev blogs, and one of the questions that I think Laz would like to ask is in relating to jump fatigue and all of the conflicts we've seen in LowSec. Laz, do you want to expand on that and then hit Ned with a question for us?
What are we talking about again? I forget. No. So one of the big things about EVE lately changes Aegis Sov, and I was told by other people, as the EVE player yourself, you also have some ideas and some stuff that you like to see in EVE. How would you like to see those things change with Aegis Sov or with EVE Jump?
Yeah, so again, like I was kind of going through earlier, I don't actually have that much experience in terms of sort of nullsec empire building, so a lot of my thoughts on this are all theoretical and actually have zero basis in anything but anecdotal reading from other players and their thoughts.
So basically what you say today will be going live next week. That's all I heard from this.
You don't want to, that's my power. It'd be a weird game if that happened. So, I mean, just in general, I think that, we've put out kind of there's sort of the known way that EVE works and how people want the how they feel like there's a sandbox, and it's built to be that, to essentially player activity, to create social groups and conflict between social groups and stuff like that. So whatever the changes are going forward, I want that to be the core of the system of I think that what I'd want out of it is to be inspiring, a little bit more inspiring than it is now. Not that it's bad now. I mean, it's still the act of warring over space, beating back the enemy, taking their stuff. But I think there's a little bit more room to play with it there to make it feel a little bit more visceral. So maybe that could be changing up different aspects of capture, different things, or something like that. So it's not all one type of thing. There's also, of course, the discussion about putting more carrots versus sticks in the game. And I think something that you're going to hear from us a little bit more in the near future is that I don't want to steal too much thunder from the people that are going to say this, but we've changed. We changed a while ago to the new release cadence of 5 to 6 weeks, and that's very different from an expansion style thing. And that has its known pluses and minuses, of course. And what it's meant over the past year is that we're into a little bit more of a risk-taking, shake things up sort of mindset in general than we have been in a while. I think everybody can kind of obviously appreciate that with how drastic these changes were, especially
right.
And so a lot of the things in order to accomplish that take a lot more steps in the path. And we've put some stuff out a little bit, I wouldn't say sooner than it needed to be, but maybe it could have been packaged a little bit differently with other aspects of other things. And so that's something that we'll probably be talking about a little bit more going forward. But I think I wouldn't want what happens with like the jump changes, feature changes, and Sov stuff to go too far afield from just what EVE is. And I don't think that that's anybody's intention or company or anything like that. I love EVE for what it is. I love also Warfare for what it provides. I think that there's more room to find more uses for capitals. They're aspirational thing. They're the big ships that do the big things in EVE, and they could use a little bit more love, and we're going to give them some more stuff to do. So.
Interesting. Okay, so one of the things I'd like our viewers to do is go ahead and I already have a whole bunch of questions I'd like to ask Ned. Laz, you're going to have to snuggle with him a little bit more. Our guys are telling us that we can hear Ned just fine, but you're getting lost slightly. So this is an excuse for you to hug it out. But in the meantime, guys, if you have questions for Ned or for Laz, go ahead and put those in chat. I'm going to go over the dev blog changes for people so people are aware of what they are. So if you guys can hold on a moment and we'll go through the latest EVE news. Okay. So, here we are.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Good timing. Thank you for subscribing. So, here's the deal, guys. What we're about to be talking about here is a major
we have the best
blog.
subscribers now.
We absolutely do. 3 major changes came out in a dev blog that was released just a couple of days ago. It might have been literally yesterday, which said that there were going to be major adjustments to the way in which Fatique Sov, or excuse me, we've got a CCP person here, so we're going to call it Aegis Sov. Aegis Sov works. Number one, of course, is the fact that Troll Scepters coming up in the September patch, which is, I believe, September 29th, you can't put a Entosis link on an Interceptor. Now, many of us have always been skeptical about the idea of Interceptors being interdiction nullified in the first place, but in addition to the speed limit on hacking, having Troll Scepters have a limit, just removing Troll Scepters from existence is a good first step. It's not quite something that I would advocate. I would say you could keep the links on there, but make sure that if a link is active, you can't use your prop mod. But it's at least a step in the right direction, in my completely unbiased opinion, because I would never lie to you. And it's just the truth. So beyond that, the other thing is that we're having what? It's not just the truth. Oh, I see how it is. Headshake. Feel free to jump in here with any comments, guys, if you'd like, as we go through these. The next big one is going to be the node decay and capture regen changes. These are slated for November. And the reason why these, I don't think it was
node decay. It was I believe they posted that it was the Sov structures themselves would decay. So if you had a actual item like a iHub, infrastructure hub that was partially hacked, that hack would then decay back to 0 if you didn't continue to hack.
Right.
Yeah. It
So-
returns back to the original state.
So even for command nodes for structures that you own, the command nodes will regenerate towards full owner control if nobody has it, which is functionally node decay. They don't disappear, but what will happen there, at least based upon the reading of this dev blog, if nobody shows up to hack the command nodes, they will slowly regenerate up to the defender. Unless I'm completely misreading this, but it looks here.
Yeah, I think that's right.
That sounds right, okay.
Yeah, so basically this means that if you do, and this is huge, guys, and this is slated for going in the November release, which is, I believe, called Parallax. And so, essentially, if nobody shows up to try to hack your stuff, then you just can twiddle if you feel like it, and eventually, after about a few hours, those nodes will go to 100% defender, and then you, as the defender, have that out of the way, which is excellent. I'm a big fan of that. What do you guys think about that? I mean, are you Ned and Laz? Are you pleased with these changes, or do you think it's going in the right direction?
I think it's brilliant, the best thing that's ever been made for any video game.
Spoken like a true PR guy. Excellent. I love
I've never
it.
seen anything better in any video game, period.
This is the best.
So good.
By now. I love
So
it.
innovative. Never seen it before.
Emergence. There we go.
It's definitely something that really needed to add an extra carrot to be the person to own the Sov. Whereas right now, due to PB, one of the biggest things to actually owning Sov was jump bridges. And because of the jump fatigue changes, jump bridges lost a lot of their value. But this would help counterbalance for someone's idea for holding Sov. Is if they will automatically regen so that one interceptor, well, I guess now frigate or anything that's trying to troll hack, just doesn't come back to save it, then basically you don't have to worry about that nobody. Like, so
I think the thing for me, and again, like I'm not really in the weeds with this, but to me, it would imagine like once somebody hacks yourself a certain amount, like you then kind of have to go out and set it back to 0, and that spends your time doing it just because somebody came in. He didn't really want Sov. And so now you can either go back yourself and actively hack it back, or you just let it go, and it'll take longer, but at least it's going to go away. So,
It'll get done without any commitment. And that's absolutely right. If they're not committing to take your Sov, you shouldn't have to commit back. As it stands right now, they can commit briefly, and then many more people have to commit in return for something that's not even a serious attack at all.
yeah.
And I think the big thing here is this node regeneration, as well as with the last changes with cutting down the actual time for a defender to save one of their own nodes. They couple together really well to help support the defense. And I think that's really what Aegis Sov was missing.
I'm sure you guys are going to start calling it Parallax Sov, aren't you?
Parallax Sov. Well, actually, this sort of segues into, and this is something that's more directly in Ned's wheelhouse, which is one of the reasons why we call it Fozzie Sov colloquially, is that almost all of the blogs that used to be presented about the upcoming Sov system were written by Fozzie, so the name stuck, and whether that was good or bad depends upon whether you're the person. This dev blog, which is the first one I've seen of its kind, actually is authored by not an individual, but the byline is Team 5-0. Now, was this a conscious decision on the part of CCP, or was this something that the team just did on their own? Maybe you could speak to this a bit, Ned.
I mean, it's something we've wanted to do for a while, but I've never really had the best example of why we should do it. It's always been a theoretical thing of all this stuff is really done by the team. I mean, there's multiple designers, there's people coding it, there's QA people, there's all this sort of stuff that goes into the feature. But the system for putting out dev blogs only allowed for one author. We couldn't even put in a fake person. It actually had to be a character represented that's owned by a CCP person. So it's always been it made more sense for it to be labeled as from a team, even though they say hey, I'm so-and-so from team X or whatever. It still comes across as from a person, and that's bad in two ways. One, in that it doesn't represent the full team that's going into it. But two, of course, if it's going to be a controversial change like the Sov changes, then that one person is unfairly blamed for it.
Right, they become a lightning rod, essentially.
Yeah. But then also, at this, sort of like I was saying before, in it not giving enough credit to the rest of the team for populating teams. It can inflate egos and do all sorts of that bad stuff on the other end. So we've always, from the communications perspective, the community team, PR team, we've always wanted to have it be able to be from a team itself and just labeled as that. And then, of course, a little bit of the vitriol kind of made a very good case for it seems a little bit fair now to put it from the team. So you'll see that going forward from everything that is team-based featuring. There may be something that's like a personal note from somebody else, and they'll come from the individual again. But features themselves that are multiple person things will always come, or should always come from the team.
I mean, I think this is a good idea. I mean, absolutely, in terms of ego, in terms of people being unfairly vilified. I mean, what we've seen through the drama of the discussion surrounding Aegis Sov, Fazie Sov, etc., is there is this contrast. People either give him credit or blame for it. The Sov system has been named after him, and that's just bad communications, period. So I think this is a good idea. I think it's long overdue. I'm a big supporter of it. It is interesting to see the contrast between the teams, because when people are communicating about the structures team, right? So you have CCP Nullarbor, who's been very a wonderful guest on the Meta Show previously, very aggressive in his communications. When I say aggressive, I mean he is taking the initiative to communicate with not just streamers, but also various player groups to find feedback. And I think that's excellent. And we didn't really see that from Team 5-0. So, I mean, I think, there's a great opportunity here. The player base has responded quite favorably to Nullarbor and Game of Drones' outreach. Unfavorably, politely, to the whole Fazie Sov, Fazie single name and lack of outreach. So, and if all of the dev blogs then have a team name and somebody on that team somewhere is designated to engage with the community, I think that we can have a much more positive relationship.
Yeah. I think it's really important that we have you here, Alex, to tell us about egos. I mean, you've indicated people have egos. I mean, it seems counterintuitive.
Well,
it's the Mittani.
If I'm going to tell you about problems about egos, I think that's I'm actually sort of a subject matter expert in terms of getting in trouble because of one's own arrogance when it comes down to it. So, the danger is always there. But one of our people in chat is asking us, what are the exact times for this system? So, quick EVE side tangent here. So under the new system, what we're looking at here is a command node that is uncontested and not being hacked at all, will completely regenerate in 98 minutes from a neutral starting point, which means a little bit more than an hour and a half. You just go, if the people who are going on offense don't turn up for an hour and a half and start hacking the thing, the defenders don't have to lift a finger. And I suspect that that's going to cover, that change is going to get rid of a tremendous number of player-based complaints.
There's literally a chart inside the dev blog, guys.
Yes, you can go look at it.
EVE dev blog. It'll be the very first link you find.
I will help you and put it in the chat such that everybody can see it.
To be fair, the coloration on the original blog that's posted on that chart was pretty terrible. I'm pretty sure they fixed it.
I did see that. It was like invisible gray.
Is this your job as brand manager to fix these things?
So,
well, yes, but yes, in a way.
One of the other changes that's quite interesting that's come out here is for the first time since Phoebe, and I mean, so Fazie Sov, or excuse me, Aegis Sov is being iterated on relatively rapidly because the player base has been vehement about it. And Phoebe, the jump fatigue changes impacted a relatively small percentage of the player base, right? I mean, your people who are capital pilots are significant in-game players, but compared to the vast number of people who are playing at high sec, jump fatigue just doesn't impact them. So now, finally, many months later, we are seeing our first major iteration on the Phoebe changes to jump fatigue, and the reduction in maximum fatigue time from 30 days, which is what it is currently, down to 5 days maximum jump fatigue to allow weakened players to bounce around the galaxy and do things. So I put it to both of you because I'm not a capital ships expert. Laz certainly is. What do you guys think about the changes to jump fatigue and how that's going to impact New Eden?
Yeah. So I argued heavily for a completely random amount of time between 10 minutes and 2 months. Every time you were completely gambling on what they're going to do. They seriously considered it by printing out the idea and lining up and throwing it in the trash can. So I'll actually let you know.
If that system ever goes live, guys, I will give you CCP Manifest home address so we can take care of this.
A lot of wars will be won and lost based on the
That's excellent.
But I've killed 1 or 2 capitals in my day.
One or two.
So I think I actually really like the idea. However, the problem right now with Phoebe is not really on a large scale, but on the smaller scale. If you look week after week, you see nothing but super capitals dying in low sec as they're trying to move. And the issue is because of the 5 light year range and the 5-minute cooldown, you jump into a system and you're stuck there. You're stuck there for 5 minutes, and even if you're able to get safe from your initial jump-in point, you can only jump out for another 5 light years around that. So it's very, very easy to plan the jump route around that system for 5 light years of where that actual Titan or super character can actually go. So the only way to safely move a super right now in EVE Online through OSEC is at downtime. Literally, you log in like a minute before downtime and do a jump, and then log off. And you have to do that for like 7 days to try to move your super. So I think something like that needs to be changed so that these smaller groups and smaller entities that aren't rolling around with multiple hundreds of Titans and supers and all that can safely move to OSEC are able to survive. I think we had 3 Titans die in a single day this week.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Pandemic Legion killed a couple of Nulli Secunda supers because Nulli disbanded, which is sort of major EVE news, but that alliance has been kind of dying for a while, so I don't know. But whenever an alliance dies or closes the doors or there's a failure cascade, all of the super capital pilots need to move their stuff to safety, and what they think of as safety is low sec, where, again, as Laz says, there's only so many points you can go through, and just these things are dying like flies, which is great because, death to all super capitals, blah, blah, blah. But, again, these are in-game players. They got this. They wanted to use their fancy toys. The balance on super caps is relatively okay at the moment. Which is for the first time in a while. So I think it's good to see that these things are finally getting re-examined. We still, as our people are pointing out in chat, we still don't really have a purpose for dreadnoughts. Oh, this is a good question for Ned because he is PR. So here's the thing, guys. A few weeks ago, and I get asked this, Laz and I get asked this every single time we do a meta show. A few weeks ago, there was a Twitter comment from Jane Fillon, who's on the CSM. The CSM Summit is about to begin this week. Actually, our CSM representatives most of them are flying today and tomorrow to head on over to Iceland to have one of these summits with CCP. So Jane Fillon posted on Twitter weeks ago that he had seen a first pass at a capital rebalance, and unlike many of the things that we've been hearing about where people are crabby about this or that the other thing, he was overjoyed. He wanted to bring good news to the player base, and he said, "This thing is amazing. I love the capital rebalance. We got our first look at it. Great." And then dead silence. Probably, my theory, and Ned doesn't have to confirm this, is that he mouthed off when he wasn't supposed to. We weren't supposed to know about this. However, the CSM Summit is about to happen. Ned, can you tell us anything about the existence of a capital rebalance, what we might see, when we might hear about it?
Yeah, so just briefly, I wouldn't say that Jane said something he wasn't supposed to say. I would say that he saw something and got really excited about it. It's obvious that caps and super caps are a big part of the ecosystem of Null, and we're really looking at all the different aspects of it. So it would not be surprising to me if that is on the plate for discussion at the summit, and it has been talked about for a while. I don't know any time frames for it. It's probably going to be sort of like I was saying, more when that sort of thing is a package, but we're working through all the balancing, the other stuff. The attack battlecruisers, is the latest on the block, and more to come. So it's only natural that super caps will get there. It would make sense to make sure that change goes along with other changes to nullsec in areas where those ships are used. So I would imagine that it's probably something along the lines of that.
Yeah, the I don't envy anyone working in capital rebalance, because they can change capitals and super capitals as much as they want. But I think the really big issue that they're going to have to get past is, why do I put these capitals in the field? Like, that's the biggest question, is what's going to force me to put these 100 billion ISK Titans or these 30 billion ISK super carriers on the field? And with Citadels coming out, with the Citadels are going to be replacing POSs, they're all going to be affected by the ecosystem. They're not going to be sieged by capitals anymore. So they're basically having to completely repurpose these like dreadnoughts and titans and supers, and it's a pretty daunting task. And I do not envy anyone having to do this.
Yeah, that is one of the things that we're continually asked about, is dreadnoughts in particular, because some of those old school capital battles were the best in the era of the 10-minute siege timer, and everybody goes in, they commit, and there's going to be carnage everywhere. That's very exciting to players in general. So I think we're all looking forward to that.
I had another design idea for this, which I think you guys will appreciate. It follows exactly on the Death to All supers.
Okay.
You destroy every super in the game, and then replace it with an equal M3 amount of cruisers. Done. Just an exchange.
Genius! Excellent. Here you go.
exchange.
We take away your Titan and we give you thoraxes instead.
Like a lot of them.
We're going to take away your Titan. We're going to take away your Titan, but we're going to give you 100 billion ISK and thoraxes.
That's a lot of minerals worth of reprocessing. Then I think our finance team would be all over that.
I think the thorax would be the perfect example, because it's phallic and we're getting fucked.
And the important thing is, though, that like if you have a Mimitar cap, super cap, whatever, that you actually get better ships out of it, because when a Mimitar ship dies, it just like comes back as just breaks apart, and there's like a smaller ship of the Mimitar ships inside.
A rupture would turn into a rifter?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
That's amazing.
So you just work your way down.
All right, guys, I want to go ahead and say to everybody who's watching, we're going to do a couple giveaways. We have an EVE Online True Stories book, and which is autographed by some jerk who is a starring character in that. So, yes, you could get a hardcover autographed copy.
Red shirt today, too.
And, in fact, wearing a proper red shirt.
Just John Leguizamo's shirt.
Yeah, absolutely. So make sure that you can only qualify for the giveaway if you say something in chat, so let's go ahead and do that. And
you can only qualify if you say something in chat and follow the stream.
And following. I mean, if you don't follow, you don't exist as far as we're concerned, because that's how we roll here. One of the other things that's important to know, guys, is Laz, I actually need to know what else we're going to be giving away, or pork butt. You can go ahead.
We have two faction rookie ship codes provided to us by the lovely CCP here.
Excellent.
This is my Janet White today.
Absolutely. So wonderful. So we're going to give away 2 of those.
I also gave away my dignity. That was to everybody in the stream, so...
You're a giver, Ned. You are a giver, and we appreciate every moment of that. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to give away a couple of the pirate ship codes, and I believe that the True Stories book is physical merchandise, so that is, again, provided to us by CCP. Thank you so much for helping enrich our community. We love to make it rain on our boys, because our people deserve the best, and we believe that. So that'll be a subscribers-only thing. So a couple more questions here before we do that. Everybody's talking in chat, so we'll get ready for the giveaways. One of the things that I did notice, and this is significant news this week, is that CCP has announced that the proposed fleet warp changes have been taken back to the drawing board. So the idea, exactly, like no fleet warp changes in the near future whatsoever. What do you guys think about that?
You want me to go first?
Yeah, sure.
All right, I'll go first. Whenever they announced them, the intended effect for them was to make it so that fleet members had to do more work, and the changes that they wanted to do would completely miss that mark. So basically, the people changes that they proposed would have just made my job harder. It would have changed from me using a cheetah as a scout to me using a Tech 3 Unhurled as a scout. So them pulling them back, I think, is the best thing that they could do, and just go back and see what they can change differently to kind of pull more control away from the FC and put more control into the fleet.
We are going to go ahead and do our first giveaway also, as now that that answer has gone out. We have a rookie ship code to Blackjack SAO. Blackjack SAO, who is both a follower and a subscriber. Congratulations. Message the channel on Twitch, not in chat, but actually send us a message to TheMittani.com's Twitch channel, and we will send you a pirate ship rookie code. And we're going to go ahead and do another giveaway because that's how we roll. And another one is going to Tash Murka. Tash Murka. That is excellent. So go ahead, Tash Murka and the previous winner, go ahead and message the channel, Blackjack SAO and Tash Murka. Congratulations.
If you don't message the channel, I won't be able to send you your code because by tomorrow I won't remember your name. So.
Absolutely. No message, no win. That's how we roll. And I'm going to go ahead real quick and turn this into subscriber mode and reach around my wonderful, lovely blue microphone. Thank you guys so much. Hopefully I'm not going to kill your ears by talking into it.
And our silver phallus is between myself and Ned.
We have so much product placement here. It's lovely. Our sponsor's Blue Microphone. We've got Razer. We've got CCP representatives again, making it rain on the boys. Like it's excellent. So I'm going to go ahead and get subscribers. All right. So once again, if you would like to win an EVE Online True Stories hardcover from Dark Horse Comic Books and CCP, signed by by some jerk in a red shirt, signed, autographed personally by TheMittani, who is some guy in that comic, go ahead and talk in subscribers chat. And
well, and while they're talking about CCP Manifest, the fleet work changes. You said you've been on some fleets as well as not as many mixed scale. What would you like to see different?
I appreciate and rue the fleet committer's ability to move us around because you get pulled more into what they want to do. And if you have a good one who's really quick on the ball, yeah, that can save your whole fleet. And there's been a lot of times where our fleet was about to die, we got jumped, and we had terrible scouting, and all of a sudden we get out just by a little bit, and that would have only happened because the fleet committer did move us around. There's a little bit of good stuff that happens too when you're kind of just starting out. Like people a little AFK, you're not about to get into battle, and you're just kind of moving around, waiting, just doing that sort of stuff. It's just, that stuff I don't mind. Really, there's not anything actively happening. But I do feel like it takes away a little bit from each individual pilot's participation in the fleet to be moved around so much over so long distances by another person. I don't. I have to agree with my coworkers. It's just not quite ready, and a lot of determining that it wasn't ready was based off the feedback from the community about it. So.
Excellent.
He makes a really good point. And Alex, if you want to go do the next roll, then I'll go ahead and do my little tirade.
Go ahead on your tirade. I'm going ahead and doing the rolls right now. So.
Right. Yep, so sub hype for all you sub guys getting that comic book signed by Alex, or the Mittani rather. And so about that, something that could be decent is I've saved a lot of my fleets while we're getting bombed. The bombs actually destroy the victim of the bubble this and I'm holding my mouse over the fleet warp button, and as soon as the bomb destroy the bubble, I fleet warp and save my entire fleet. So what could be a decent idea about that is fleet warp on a timer. So the FC can fleet warp every X minutes, so that you have that big red emergency button that you can meet the fleet warp the fleet if you need to.
Yeah, that's a good one. I've heard the only. I guess the limit is something like that. Like, you click fleet warp and it takes a while for it to go into effect, and that's as good and bad. But timer's not a bad idea. Of just like you can only do this fleet warping thing so often. So it's more of an emergency thing, or more of a one-time tactical use in a real battle or something like that.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have a winner. The winner of the True Stories book is Amusing Username. Amusing Username. You do, in fact, have an amusing username, and it'll be all the more amusing when you send a message to the channel with your real name, your address, and let us know all that information so we can actually ship this book to you. Thank you so much for subscribing, and we are delighted to help make it rain thanks to CCP giving us these books to give away. So we appreciate it. Using username. That is actually his username. So we're going to go ahead and wrap things up here, guys. We are getting towards the end of the show. We want to thank CCP, Blue Microphones, Razer, CCP Manifest for turning up. The EVE Atlanta meet is going on right now, so if you are in or around Hotlanta, you could head on over there. Where is that actually being held right now, guys?
It's at Neighbors Pub in Virginia Highlands.
Absolutely.
I think we're going to be here until about 6 o'clock, and then I think after 6 o'clock we're moving to
Dark Horse Tavern.
Yeah, Dark Horse Tavern, which is another...
It's just down the street, like a couple blocks for karaoke.
Ooh, that'll be
and
interesting. Let's get some
that's-
streaming going there so we can photograph EVE guys trying to sync. That'll be highly entertaining.
The band that plays there regularly is called Meddlesome, and they played a couple of CCP parties back in the day, and they are awesome. So if you are watching this and you live near Atlanta and you would enjoy karaoke, or drinking and watching karaoke, or talking to EVE players about EVE stuff, then you should come out.
All right, everyone.
I
Well,
gotta go see
I think that's going to be it. We've got our new programming coming up after this. We've got the Undead Zone, and shortly after that, we're going to go ahead and have the boat show. The boat show! The boat show. We always have to say that, because singing the boat show theme song is awesome, just like the boat show is awesome. So thank you all for watching, and we had some complaints last time about having an awkward exit, where we would basically say, hey guys, we're done streaming, and then sort of sit there staring at the camera. So we're not going to do that now. Everybody's going to wave goodbye, boys and girls. We're waving, and then I'm going to say that we're done and just stop streaming. And that's how we're going to roll. Are we ready?
Like, if you do that, it's just going to cut off like 15 seconds late. Like 15 early, I mean. So they won't actually see this.
So, oh well, I have no idea how that works. So we have to sit there, keep waving. All right, well, we're done here, and I will see everybody later. Thank you so much for attending, and keep watching. We got a lot more coming up today. Bye.